this popped up the other day, and I didn't know about it until I was informed yesterday, that SPLC wants to dictate internet etiquette. And they have this website here called changetheterms.org saying white supremacists are using online platforms for hate. It's time to change the terms. Now, this to me is almost like the antithesis to what many have asked for in regards to an internet bill of rights. This isn't about opening things up. This isn't about holding social media companies accountable to what to what our government views as being First Amendment and free speech. This is all about locking it up, clamping it down, and ruling with an iron fist. I don't think there's any better way to describe it. Now, it says here, reducing hate online. As the internet platforms provide more opportunities for people around the world to connect, they also have provided a forum for certain groups to spread hate, fear, and abusive behavior. The deadly neo-Nazi march in Charlottesville was organized with the use of Facebook, PayPal, and Discord. See, again, Discord pops up. I'm on Discord all the time. I love my Discord. I have great mods. I have a great community, and it's just, but there are a lot of bad people who use Discord. That I can definitely agree with. The Violent Proud Boys group vets new applicants through Facebook and have seen an uptick in applicants since the summer of 2018. Proud Boys, I'm not a fan of them personally, but there are people out there, they're like, no, they're not racist, but they like to fight. I think that's a fair assessment. Some technology companies have made steps in the right direction to reduce hateful online activities, but more work needs to be done. Over the past year, the Change the Terms Coalition has met with experts on terrorism, human rights, and technology around the world to gather insights on how hate operates online and how it can be stopped. So they've met with experts on terrorism, human rights, and technology to figure out how this stuff can be stopped. So they want to change the internet. They want to dictate how things are done. They want to change up internet etiquette as a way to do this. Now, it says here, the result of those conversations was the creation of a recommended corporate policies and terms of service to ensure that social media platforms, payment service providers, and other internet-based services are not places where hateful activities and extremism can grow. Now, we've seen the clampdown. We've seen the clampdown on some of these things already, right? Gab.com, right? That social media site, that went down last week. I heard they're now back. I just don't know to what terms. You had Patreon, which was an alternative to Patreon for predominantly like right-leaning, alt-right-leaning people. That was shut down when Stripe and PayPal refused to work with them. Similar to Gab, it was also struck by both of those companies refusing to work with them, which then makes it difficult for them to process payments in order to then pay their users or to make a profit. And you had that happen with Maker Support too, which was an alternative to Patreon that also had the same problem with Stripe. They were not able to process the payments that people were putting into the system. Therefore, it effectively kept money in limbo that couldn't go to the content creators, and it effectively killed the website. This is a problem. This should not be happening. If they say you don't like it, build a new one, and then people build a new one, and then it still gets restricted, it becomes a problem. There is the other side of that, though, which would argue that a business has a right to associate with who it wants. And that, again, is a very nuanced discussion and debate. One that I'm not having here, but I'm showing you guys the other side argument as well. I don't like what they have here in regards to a creation of recommended corporate policies. Do we really need more corporate policies online? Do we really need more corporate policies online? I don't think so. Now it goes on to say here, what is hateful activity? So they at least try to describe it. They say hateful activity are those that incite or engage in violence, intimidation, harassment, threats, or defamation, targeting an individual or group based upon their actual or perceived race, color, religion, national origin, ethnicity, immigration status, gender identity, sexual orientation, or disability. So talk crap about anyone who isn't you, essentially. That's the list. They say why this matters. While showing a picture of Gavin McGinnis and his Proud Boys, saying here, just as the internet created immense positive value by connecting people and creating new communities, it's also given new tools to those who want to threaten, harass, intimidate, defame, or even violently attack people different from themselves. And why we care is why we care. Okay. Change the Terms has developed a model. Corporate policies to help, or developed model corporate policies to help internet companies stop hate and extremism online and ensure that they do more to protect people of color, women, LGBTQIA people, religious minorities, and other marginalized communities. We are made up of civil rights, anti-hate, and open internet organizations. See, I'm going to sit there and probably go, you know what? It's not really it's not really, in my opinion, open internet organizations, because this isn't about open internet. This is about restricting the internet in certain places, which I can understand the desire to want to do that, but just look at the ramifications of doing that, right? You have to weigh the pros and the cons. Do you want a sanitized internet? Do you want this to be a thing? If not, then you can't do this. But I don't think they care. Now, it says here that most tech companies are committed to providing safe and welcoming space for all users. But when tech companies try to regulate content arbitrarily without civil rights expertise or without sufficient resources, they can exacerbate the problem. Yeah, fine. I agree with that entirely. I do. I agree with that entirely. But the way you solve this problem is not through restricting content. You don't solve this problem through restricting things, because that exacerbates the problem. That's going to exacerbate this problem heavily. And people aren't going to like it. They're not going to like it one damn bit. But of course, Change the Terms doesn't realize in that particular regard that they're being just kind of a little bit hypocritical. And they are. They are. Oh, well, you gotta come in it from our way or the highway, basically, right? And that's not going to work out too well. It's just not going to work out well at all. And I very much expect this thing to, I'm hoping there will be enough pushback on it to where it doesn't go through. But the SPLC, to many people out there, is still viewed as this like paragon of virtue. It's not online, and they still believe that that's going to be something that's good. These are companies that want to do away with specific groups, specific people, specific lines of thought. And look, I don't want to defend those people. I don't like their trains of thoughts. I don't like their opinions. I don't like what they have to say, but they do have a right to say them. So you cannot sit there and say that you want to reduce hate online and say that the only way to do that is to change, to add restrictions, to recommend corporate policy changes that would do away with this. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't ways to reduce hatred online. I think there are. I think a lot of that has to do with just, it's a long-term process. It's a long-term thing, but you can do it, I think, through compassion and through empathy, and through understanding and through listening. And this group of people, they clearly aren't going to listen to the other side and their opinions and their feelings on things. They just want to shut them down. And the other side, it probably feels very similar to them. And that's not a place we should be. That's an impasse that's not going to benefit anyone in the long run, which is why this whole situation really sucks. I think you would find more support if there was more of a centered ground here, but this is all about the fight. This is all about winning and damn the consequences, essentially. So that's a big unfortunate future we live in on the internet, because eventually something like this is going to happen. These kind of people do run social media, and I don't think there's any better way to describe that.